Hola, soy Señora Kenny, and I will be hosting today advice from a virtual world language teacher. These are some tools for the online teacher, including the newly ordained online teacher. As you can see, I have some props today. I have with me a coquille, which happens to be a type of frog that is native to Puerto Rico. See, he even has the Puerto Rican flag on the bottom of him. Also, you will see that I am wearing a sombrero. It is hat day at our school. So it is great to bring your personality to the table just like you would do in a brick and mortar setting. Do this as well for your students online. So I want to tell you what I'm going to be sharing with you today. I'm going to share with you how to record yourself for your students featuring you. And you could do this by recording your screen and you. You want to add that personal element to your class. If you just record your voice and your screen, it's not going to personalize it as much. It is much nicer to be able to see a face to go with the voice. So that is why I encourage you to use your camera as you're able to with your students. Furthermore, another way to connect with students is through newsletters. I'm going to share with you some ideas of what you might want to include in your newsletters and some resources you can use to create newsletters. Another thing you will want to consider is how you're going to share information with your students. I'm going to share with you a resource that you can use for students so that students can post videos. You could post videos of you. They could create voice recordings. They could upload pictures on a specific topic and ways that you could share notes and information with students. So what I'm doing right now is what is called a screencast. And I'm using what's called Screencast-O-Matic. You record you and your screen. It's uploadable and shareable. So I plan to upload this from Screencast-O-Matic to YouTube. You can also embed these videos. So we have content within our online high school so that I can upload videos like this into the content itself. So that you can embed these. And you could embed them into blogs and that sort of thing as well. Screencast-O-Matic is free. There are premium versions available with more options for sharing and for editing. For me, myself, I have simply stuck with the free versions. As far as newsletters are concerned, I have used S'more in the past for creating newsletters. The first several newsletters are free. A nice benefit of S'more is that you can track the number of readers that you've had of your newsletter. You can also create links to other resources, and upgrades are available. I have not upgraded. I simply stuck with the free version, and then once I was done with the free version, I went to another resource so that I could continue using free resources. However, some things you might want to consider including in your class newsletter would be things that maybe you've been learning about in class. It's a way for you to reach out to your families and share what you've been learning. Encourage the family participation. Maybe ask your parents, for example, ask your students if they can tell you the months of the year in Spanish. We've learned a song in class as well. Ask them if they would like to sing the song for you to share how they learned the months of the year. So again, like I mentioned, you can include ideas in your newsletter for ways families can participate with the learning and resources for your students. I will show you some examples on the coming slides. So here is an example of a newsletter I created in S'more. We had been talking about Day of the Dead. I included resources within that. There were links to other internet resources as well. I talked about summer Spanish language study programs. There were links for grammar notes, vocab notes, as well as another resource that students could use to learn Spanish outside the classroom. Once my free subscription was done with S'more, I decided to switch over to Canva. Canva is a resource that you could use for not only newsletters, but also creating invitations to events. Again, Canva is free. So here's an example of a newsletter I created on Canva for my students. I talked about what we had been studying in class. I included some resources with links to vocab and grammar notes. And then here was an idea for families to participate in the cultural learning of Spanish. A way that I have shared information with my students is through Padlet. Padlet is a way to share notes. I have one Padlet for all of our vocab notes for the entire class. I have another Padlet for all of the grammar notes to share with the class. I have them linked to each other. It is important as an online teacher that you try to keep things linked to each other as much as possible. So if you have a Padlet, be sure to share it out also in your newsletter. Talk about it in your screencast. This way, it makes students aware of how they can access those resources. Students could also, and you could post videos in Padlet. Students could add their own videos, voice recordings, and images on a topic. There's even ways to draw within Padlet as well. It is a way to keep information, topic-specific information into one place for sharing with students and others. I'm going to show you some examples. We had a class where we talked about mate, which is a typical drink of Argentina. I included in this Padlet an article about mate. So in class, students had to watch a video on mate. We discussed it. But if they wanted to dig a little deeper and find out more about the topic for some extended learning, they could read this article. They could watch another video. We also had a mini mate fiesta in the class, and students had to decide on roles in small groups, who was going to do what at the fiesta. I also included a picture of me having had mate at one point in my life. We did a KWL in class of what students knew, what they wanted to know, and what they learned after the experience. So I shared this with students to keep it all in one central location and so that they could have some extended learning opportunities as well. We had a cultural project, and I had asked students to upload their projects to this Padlet. So you can see some examples here of some student work. So this was a way of doing a gallery walk so that students could see the work of their classmates. Like I mentioned earlier, students could upload videos. Here was an example of my video that I created. Students created videos as well. Some did voice recordings only. What you might want to do is offer some extra credit if they show their face on camera. And this was a way that I could get some incentive to get more students to show themselves on camera rather than just doing a voice recording. Because again, a voice recording is nice, but if you can put a face with the voice, it makes it that much more pleasant. So again, these are some free resources. Upgrades are available for premium versions of some of these resources that I talked about. I talked about Screencast-O-Matic for broadcasting you and your screen on your computer, S'more and Canva for creating newsletters, and Padlet for sharing information with students in different ways. I want to say thank you for being my audience. Gracias. And feel free to leave comments. Adios.